Just curious, Simon, what is that you're answering about? I don't think I assigned 8 labs in 2601 last week. Okay, you're right. I did assign 8 of them. Okay. Okay, there are 8 assigned in there, but don't. But this week you've only got 2 labs. Next week you got 2, and following week you got 3. When you get to chapter 8, you don't have any labs. Chapter 10, you don't have any labs. '13, you got 1 lab, and then you've got another item in here in 2601. Okay. All right. Now, this is 2451, which I've got to flip back to the course because y'all's material is all online. I don't have a book either. So, hold on 1 second. Let me get to the, I'm going to the wrong place. I get Netacad. And I was sitting in 2601, so I got to get back into 2451. All right, let me get to y'all's curriculum. And then they go around getting into the actual material. You circle it around all the way around. It makes no sense to me, but I'm not the one to set it up. All right, so we're on, should be on data link layer this week. Yeah, I know we are. Okay. So we're going to look at topologies and that type of stuff. Not sure why they did number systems before data link layer. They should have done data link layer and then done Ethernet. All right. So we're going to talk about the data link layer. They're going to talk about the data link layer some, give you a brief overview of it. Let's see if there's anything major right there for us. Again, I don't know why we did number systems last week. This week would have been the better time for it. Oh, I'm back in chapter 1. How did I land in chapter 1? I don't know. Told it I want in 6. All right, purpose of the data link layer, topologies, and what the frame looks like. Okay, so you don't have as much this week. There's not a whole lot in this week's on it. So let me get back to where I can see what y'all are typing. So I'm flipping screens here. Sorry about that, people. And I'm back. Now I'm back in your course. Okay. Wait a minute. Now I'm not sure what Heather just made the comment about. Oh, she said it's the default, I guess, on the curriculum, but I'm not sure where you came from. Oh, okay. Is that what the problem was? So even though I had clicked down there, it's still okay. In any event, I got in there. So this week doesn't have as much. It doesn't look like in the class on it because it's just looking at the data link layer. The data link layer, one of the big things to be aware on the data link layer that I've seen questions on it. It's the only layer that has two sub layers to it because it's going to have the back layer and it's going to have the why did it just go blank on me? All right, one of you. We got the MAC layer, and what's above the MAC layer on the data link layer? What's the other sub layer? And I get nothing from y'all. Okay. And the LLC is what they've got on there. Yeah, the LLC, the logical link controller layer, control layer. So you got the LLC and the MAC layer. Now let me flip back over. So you've got two layers on there. The MAC layer is actually looking at the physical portion of it. So the data link layer is partly working software and partly working physical. So the LLC, the logical link control, is actually starting up into the software now, where the MAC layer is still physical. You'll see the NIC card listed on the MAC sublayer, because that's actually where the MAC address is used, and the frame goes out on that one, and so it uses the NIC doing that. So the NIC is listed quite often on this layer. The switch is the one that's the biggest one listed on this layer that you'll see. The MAC address is the address that's burned in any device that connects to the network. Gets a MAC address. 12 hexadecimal characters long. First 6 hexadecimal characters tell us the manufacturer. The last 6 is a serial number within that manufacturer. And one of your international agencies assigns out to the manufacturers their addresses. When they run out of numbers on the last half, then they have to go back and get another first half address. The only first half address that I know, and it's not being used anymore because they ran out of addresses a long ago, is that Cisco was originally assigned 00000C. C for Cisco. So that one I happen to remember. But beyond that, but if you ever look up a MAC address, that's the reason it will tell you who manufactured what your device is, because you've got a manufacturer code in there. So if you go to the FCC website, type in a MAC address, it'll come back and tell you who the manufacturer of the item is. But the last part of the 6 hexadecimal numbers is purely a serial number. Now, number and hex. So it does include the letters A through F. Okay, so they do also in this chapter talk a little bit about topologies. Let me look and see what they throw you on topologies right here. So there's not much on the the two layers there. And then they talk about logical and the physical and logical topologies. Keep in mind that physical topology is how it is actually set up. And if you've set one up today in terms of the way you should with one device per one switch port, you've really got a star physical topology sitting there. However, it is running as a bus logical topology that things get sent to everywhere on the switch, but the switch then decides, each port then decides, does it belong on this port or not? If it doesn't send it to the device. If it does, it sends it to the device. So everything is effectively going everywhere, but it's not going all the way down to the device. So it's actually still working as a bus logical network, where most of them are star physical topologies. So they sort of show you that in their illustration, but I'm not sure that's really clear to you on that. But that's where it's going within those. And then they mention about WAN, W-A-N, and they tell you a couple of those and how they've got those set up with the hub and spoke and with point-to-point, where it's just two routers connected directly to each other, which you're going to find lots of times in the studio. And then mesh, where you got all kinds of routers connected all kinds of directions. Point-to-point on WAN, it's really not literally point-to-point. What's out there in the cloud, it goes through lots of other stuff, but it's point-to-point from that one router to the other router, pretending nothing occurs in between. That's an interesting one on that. LAN topologies, that's the one you'll see more of on tests. Star topology says there's a central point and all the devices connect to that central point. An extended star just says basically we've got multiple stars connected together. The bus topology, which I just mentioned to you, which you're using logically now, not physically. Physically, we used it before when we were running hubs. And that is everything's hanging off one big wire, effectively. Ring topology, you won't see it in terms of wiring now, but you see it on fiber. And that says that we've got a ring in there and all the devices hooked to it. Now, on the ring topology, that is where you're going to use CSMACA, Carrier Sense Multiple Access Collision Avoidance. I was having to remember that all off my head, and it was mentioned earlier today in 2601. But token ring networks use that. Now FIDI is running token ring on fiber and uses that. Each machine can only send things when it gets the token. So it's sort of like sitting in a room and that we pass the pencil around and only the person with the pencil speaks. And so the person with the pencil, if they got something to say, says it, and then they pass the pencil on to the next person. That person, if they got something to say, they say it. If not, they pass it on to the next person. And it keeps going around that way. That's using a token. That has collision avoidance because there are no collisions on it, because a machine can only send when nobody else is sending. When you're looking at the other ways on it, that generally you are using CSMACD. Collisions will occur, although if you've got a network set up correctly today with one device per port on the switches, you won't have any collisions on there either. But what happens is the machine looks and sees, do I see any traffic going by right now? If not, it goes ahead and sends. Well, guess what? There could be some traffic coming by. It didn't look both ways before it did. It just looked straight behind, straight out there. So collisions will occur, sends out a collision message that says collision's been detected, and everybody backs off for a random amount of time and resends. With collision detection, your object is to keep your number of collisions down to a minimum, but you are going to have collisions occur. Then they mentioned about full duplex, half duplex. Full duplex says both directions can send Send and receive at the same time. Half duplex says you can only send or receive at the same time. Use a couple of regular world scenarios for this. Full duplex is like a telephone. You can both talk on the telephone at the same time and hear what the other person's saying while you're talking. CB radios, ham radios, are half duplex. You can only talk or you can listen at a time. You can't do both things. So they show you those on that. And they mention, and they use a hub and a switch as their examples on it. I'm not exactly sure on that one, on the hub on that one. Yeah, switch would be normally full duplex, but it could be half duplex still, and that it really needs. And then they talk about the CSMA-CD, CSMA-CA. And they mention about collision avoidance. It says on wireless LANs. They do give you the token ring example there with the collision. As it calls it, a collision access one on it. Let's see what they got down here. Collision avoidance. And they're saying on wireless, it each machine claims for a time period. And so that works off that one. And then they talk a little bit about the frame. And the frame is going to have the packet enclosed in it, and then it's going to have a header on it, which includes your MAC addresses and some other information on there. And there's kind of a trailer behind the packet that has an error detection on it, and then it has a frame stop byte at the end, along with a frame start at the beginning. And then they talk a little bit about the MAC addresses. So those are all there, and that is the chapter. Now let me flip back to y'all's class, see who's popped up, if anything. All right. Any questions for me, chapter 5? And I get silence. Let's see, did I get everybody? 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got Heather, Simon, Thomas, and Skylar. Okay. I will. This one, I don't think this one will be as hard of a chapter as some of the chapters. Most people have a pretty decent time on this one. I will get these scores posted as soon as I can. I got last week's scores actually posted. I have not graded the discussion from last week. I was hoping to work on that some this afternoon, but I have not had a chance. Tonight, so once I finish my 2 o'clock session, I've got to go to Rome to the Floyd campus to meet a student to assist this evening, and then I got to get back. And at 8 o'clock, I'll meet with my students that are the internship class, because they're rebuilding some nonprofit websites that I do that I don't get any money for. And they're working on that, and they're going to meet with me on Skype at 8 o'clock. So this has been a full day, and I started the day at 8:15 this morning. Yesterday, I had one of my neighbors had a family emergency in Charlotte, North Carolina, and needed to get to Charlotte, North Carolina real quickly. And I drove my neighbor up there. That ended up taking my whole afternoon, evening. I got in at midnight, so I didn't touch school stuff at all yesterday. Because yesterday morning I was at church and getting streaming to work for the church service again. That's been out for about a month. Chrome has done an update. Apparently, when they went to version 77 in August, it was supposed to give a problem, but apparently but apparently my machine didn't update to that right off the end for some reason. And when it went to 79 in December, it changed rules on us. They say it's for security, and so it says it has to have a driver that is provided by the manufacturer of the camera. Well, the problem is our camera is not directly connected, but apparently it is seeing that camera, but we're going through another device that mixes our video from the camera with sound from our sound system. And according to them, we got the latest driver for that, but Google don't like it and says we can't stream on Chrome. The interesting one is I've discovered is you can't stream on other browsers. As soon as I can get a hold of a copy of the new Edge one, I will try it too. I have already gone through, tried Firefox, Current, Edge, and Internet Explorer, all of them, and tried to stream, just using the live button, if you happen to have ever seen one in Facebook. If you try it on any other browser than Chrome, it tells you it won't work on here. You got to use Chrome. And now I hit the problem. So now I found an old copy of Chrome. Google does not keep those for you to be able to access. I had to go to some other site to get it from. Loaded that. Lo and behold, camera works. But immediately Google starts updating Chrome to the newest version. And so you're good until you shut Chrome down. And then when you start it back up, it's using the current version, which doesn't work. You have to remove it, reinstall the old one, and then you're working again. So that's not the best thing in the world, but at least it works. So yesterday morning I worked on that for about an hour before church, and then was there for the church service running the video system and streaming it on Facebook. Another guy ran sound, and he moves the camera around, and I managed to keep putting everything up on the screens in the service and trying to do all of that and make sure streaming is working right. And YouTube bumps the same problem. I tried to stream to YouTube because if I could have streamed to YouTube, I'd just start advertising. That's where it is. So that took my whole morning, and then right when I was leaving church, I got the call on the other. So I went, ate lunch, home, changed clothes, and then went to Charlotte, North Carolina. Did stop and get a bite to eat on the way back last night. All right. So I'm going to be working on stuff this week. I've got to work on discussions because I have not graded discussion from last week. That one's got to get done real quick. And then today's discussion's due tonight. What you get credit for today is for the week 5 discussion that I released this morning, and that was late being released because, again, of what all went on. So I didn't get it done until when I got to school this morning. But that's okay. 8 and a half hours late didn't hurt anything when you got 8 days to work on it, or 4 days to do your initial post. So I prefer not to do that, but I say when I got home, I was tired and I was going, I got to get some sleep. So that's going to be that one. All right. Any other questions for me? If not, oh, and the packet tracer course, I had requested y'all try to have it done by last week. If you haven't got it done yet, do get it done. Y'all can still take a little bit more time on it if you haven't gotten it done. I didn't put an official deadline on it. I will be, and so try to get it on done. The only thing you have to do in the packet tracer course is you should be reading the material. And there's no labs for you to do. There are some labs in there, but I did not assign them. And then there's 2 quizzes, if I remember right, in there for you to do. And, of course, feedback. So go ahead and get that done. All right, Simon. All right, any other questions? Okay. I'm trying to read these comments up there, and then remember what in the world you commented on. Now I know what Simon did comment on, along when Thomas and Heather bounced in on it. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go, and I'll stop the recording. Hopefully that helped you some today, and then we'll be back here on Monday. If you have any questions for me during the week, run into anything. Oh, and I did get the Module 2 packet tracer graded on Saturday. I spent about 5 hours grading on it. There was like 48 submissions, and I know there's more for Module 2 now out there. If you haven't looked, look at the comments in the grades. Even if you got 100 on it, look for comments. There was only a couple of those out of 48 or something that were submitted that I didn't make any comments other than put my initials. All of the rest got a variety of comments on. So do please look out there at the comments, and if you got a 0 on it, read the comments particularly, because a 0 normally means that you're getting a chance to resubmit it. Remember, I'm only saying for 2 weeks for resubmits now. So please take advantage of that. All right, I'm out of here.